and it's our responsibility to make things start working a little bit smoother with this 2012 situation we have. It won't be the end of the world, but it will be a massive change, and I do firmly believe in the Bible, the book of Revelations. This, I think, is the time they're talking about. Sure seems to add up to me in very interesting ways, and I'm going to do a video on 2012 here at some point as well, so look forward to that. So to wrap up, I do have one exciting announcement, for me anyway, and I imagine people listening to me will want to hear this. As far as everything stands right now, I'm going to have a 2-hour weekly radio show. And I'm going to leave the station name off for the moment just to make sure everything goes through, but it sure looks like it will. And I'm very excited about that, but you'll be able to listen to it on the internet and podcast it apparently. So I think that's cool. I think that's cool this is evolving. Because I've always known I'd have some sort of role in helping, and I think this is the beginning of that. It's interesting how it's manifested. I would have never predicted, but I found most things in my life I can't predict. Oh yeah, here's a good suggestion for you before I go. Sorry, like I said, I'm a look there's a squirrel type of guy. That's just the way I am. But my wife and I started going through this awakening process, I don't know the day, year and a half, 2 years ago. But like I said, I'm an extremely curious guy, and I'm the type, I have to understand everything before I can rest on it. So imagine the undertaking that I had for this particular situation. But I have found a bunch of answers, and I'm glad I have, because it's helping other people. And that's all that's really my only agenda, is to help other people out. No matter what you think, or no matter what anybody says about me, that is the only agenda I have. I've known I'm supposed to be a leader, and while I'm still young, I've been fortunate enough to have some very, very wise friends that I listen very closely to. And some connections with these beings. And it's just my nature, but I don't have everything figured out, that's for sure. No one ever does, though, you know. Point was, this awakening process, the most bizarre things start happening. It was as though for a year, my wife and I, literally the most impossible thing, the thing that I literally cannot make this stuff up. The things that happen, and I'm leaving these off the videos because a lot of it's relatively personal, but just the craziest shit started happening all the time. It was like trying to plan for the next day, and it's still like this. I've just learned to embrace it and think it's hilarious at this point, because it's funny and it's a heck of an adventure, but it's hysterical, really. You gotta have a sense of humor to be able to do this, right? But we said we were going to make a list for 2010 we were going to try to predict the craziest possible things that could happen, because this is just a normal thing for us now. It's kind of always been that way, but it really got ramped up the last year. And we didn't do it because it hasn't all been easy stuff. A lot of it's been very difficult and pretty sensitive still. So we kind of shied away from it. Kind of like, God, I don't want to predict all that could possibly happen in the next year, because it kind of makes you think about what just happened. And so it's sort of looking like things are turning around a little bit, and I hope that's the way it continues to go. Have a little traction now, and that feels good. But we didn't make the list, but what we did start doing this last weekend is we did make a list of the events that wouldn't have been on that list. The craziest stuff that happened that we couldn't possibly make it up. And we had one this weekend that was just one of the funniest things that has ever happened to us. Like I said, I couldn't have possibly, as creative as I am, made that up. I can't say what it is. I wish I could, so sorry, I'll shut up about it. But anyway, if you're going through this, that might help you bring a little bit of humor to it. Make a list of the shit that you couldn't have possibly predicted that would happen, because you kind of got to embrace the craziness of it. It's just because we were asleep and that we're now awake, so the whole dream world, those rules don't apply. New rules. And under those rules, very unusual things happen on a regular basis, so try to not stress out about it. Maybe just make a list, and feel free to send them to me. I would love to read other people's moments that I've had. That it was funny, because I was looking at it, and my wife's looking at me, and it's been a long time since I have just burst out in laughter, because we're used to some unusual things happening. But this one was so bad, we both are just bending over, and it was kind of inappropriate, the place it was, but it was, I don't know why everybody wasn't laughing, but the place that we were, it's like time stopped for everybody else there besides me and her, and we're just rolling on the ground, literally almost rolling on the ground laughing. Everybody else was standing there just stunned that this was happening, kind of, and welcome to our world, everybody. Nobody else saw any humor in it. So, they must not have been dealing with it for long, because you got to laugh about it. It's the only way to keep your sanity. But so that's the end of what I have to say. As always, God, I want to thank everybody who writes me. Saw there's almost 800 YouTube subscribers. That's fascinating to me that there's that many people listening. I get people say they listen to what I have to say back to back, like all of them. I usually joke about that, but thank you is how I really feel about that. I don't think I'm that interesting. Thank you. Sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart just for hearing what I have to say. Because in this world at this point, anybody giving you more than 15 seconds is rare. And it's good to know that my sincerity translates well. It's good to know people can hear that. Obviously they can. I get a lot of people writing me saying that they know they should write me, and please feel free. And as always, I apologize. I lose some people, and some people were midway through a conversation, and I lose them, and I feel awful about that, and I'm trying to figure out a way to deal with that, but that's only going to get to be more of a situation. So I think forming a group here with that website I've been talking about is going to be the way to go. That said, I've been really busy, and I'm still dealing with this life too, on top of all the time I'm spending doing this. So that's the only reason why it happens. And if I forget you, email me back, and we're gonna get like more of a public venue, really cool place here that we can all connect, and that way I can jump in and help tie up some loose ends when I can, but at least there will be a big group of us to sort of help bounce ideas off each other. I think that would be a very, very, very positive thing for a lot of people right now, and I've heard positive feedback about that. So that is coming, I promise. I wish it was there right now more than you guys know. It breaks my heart that I have not completed that yet, because I know that's part of what I'm supposed to be doing. Just hasn't happened yet, and I hope it will soon. I do need help with that website, and a couple people have offered it, and I want it to be really cool, so it's kind of a big undertaking. So I don't know, or if you got ideas for me, just how to manage this a little bit better. I'm certainly open. I'm always open to suggestions and constructive criticism, logical criticism. I love getting it. I just rarely do. So yes, please send positive, logical, constructive criticism as well. That truly helps me help other people, which is all I care about. My only agenda. There are people though who would tell you I'm possessed by demons. No matter how many times I've talked about how we need to stop violence entirely and be nice to each other over and over and over. Hey, you can't help everybody. Logic needs to apply, guys. I respect your religious beliefs. I really do. I think we should all do it, because none of us have it figured out at this point. It's a mystery to all of us. And there will be those who staunchly argue with that because they think there's only one truth. That's thin ice, I think. I think if logic doesn't apply entirely to your one truth, you should reconsider it. And I don't think any sort of God out there would have any problem with that whatsoever. I think he wants you to find the truth. I think we're all a part of him. And to do that is to benefit him. It's just hard to do, so don't let anybody spoon feed you. I guess I have that agenda too. I'm sick of seeing people be spoon fed and used, essentially. Because a lot of religions have been abused and manipulated by people in power to get us to kill one another. If you look at the track record of pretty much every major religion out there, that's the way it goes. And that's the truth. So think about that. Text is pretty easy to change. King James version of the Bible. King James got to rewrite the Bible? What the... Okay. Think about that. I think there's a lot of truth in all that stuff. I truly do. And it breaks my heart that the lies have been in there, because I have a hard time embracing it, as much truth as I know is in there, because I think, like I said, a lot of time the half-truth is worse than a complete lie. Because it leaves you sort of not knowing what to believe. Well, alright, there we have it. That's what I had to say this time around. If you enjoyed this, go to my YouTube channel. I've made many other videos. If you want to contact me, it's AlienPhotog@gmail.com. You have my word. I sincerely spend a lot of time and do my best to get back to everybody. It's difficult because the answers are usually long, and I want to say them in a way to people that it doesn't scare them, because this, that would be the opposite thing that I want to do.